Today has been a day of moving at the productivity of peace. The fatigue has been real. I am a woman of a certain age, and um, life is very different when it comes to energy for me. So instead of overexerting myself and pushing through, I decided to listen to my body and move at the productivity of peace. And when I do days like that, one of the things I like to do that is soothing, healing, nurturing is I listen to podcasts as I work or as I relax. Either way, I enjoy podcasts. I have one of my own. And I want to share a few others with you as well. One of the ones I really like is Crystal Evans Hurst, the Sister Circle podcast. Why do I like this podcast so much? Because I see so much of myself in Crystal, and or I see so much of Crystal in myself. I don't know. But she is authentic. She has a great sense of humor. She is a child of God, a woman of faith, an incredible mom. What I aspire to be is a wife one day. She's a wife. And she's a planner girl. She has her own planner out now. She loves to build community. She nurtures her community, not just her community that is her audience, but her family, her friends, the people she loves. You can just see it in her interaction with them. It doesn't sound or seem forced. The way she shares, she is authentic. I love that. You can catch her with a top knot bun some days, with a t-shirt on, hoodie with a baseball cap, or glammed up with wafts of curls. It all depends on the day and her mood of the day. And she is a coffee and tea lover, just like me too. So we have a lot in common, but I just love the way her content makes the things you want to nurture, heal, change, grow in, master, celebrate with your family, enjoy with your family, attainable. It doesn't feel so out of reach that like it's a pie in the sky God or a pie in the sky dream that you'll never be able to accomplish. So when you say, "Oh, I really enjoy this content," it doesn't feel like a one day out in the future type of experience. It's always like, you know what, I'm gonna try that recipe, or I'm gonna read that book, or I'm gonna do this prayer devotional, or whatever it is. It doesn't always seem so far fetched that you just like, oh, that's nice for Crystal, or that's nice for her guest, but it is actually attainable and something you can apply for yourself. Another podcast that I really love that I would say is more of a niche type of theme, but it's Kate Northrup's Plenty podcast. But this is about healing your relationship with money. I know we don't like to talk about money, especially in my community, but money is important. It moves the world, it moves life, and once you heal your nervous system and your relationship with money, it is life changing. I first fell in love with Kate Northrup from her book, Money, a Love Story. Incredible book. Highly, highly recommend. 10 out of 10. And then I followed Kate and got her emails and became a part of her community and joined what she now has is Relaxed Money, which is her community and program every year that she has, that she offers. And when I tell you it was the best investment of my time that I could have ever made. Her podcast is incredible, but Relaxed Money just takes it to a whole nother level. But in bite size, until you can move towards something else, Plenty Podcast is a great place to start to get information on healing your nervous system around money, healing your story, healing your belief system around money as well. Everything may not be for everybody, so you take what you can and spit out the rest and leave it on the floor. But I'm telling you, you once you take a listen, get a couple of episodes under your belt, you'll be hooked too. I'm certain of it. Another podcast that I love that is nurturing and healing is the pivot. Now I know you thinking these are football players, but the pivot one, I love the pivot because it's the style of conversation that I just one day hope that my podcast will build up to. That like I will have conversations like this around the table or with guests and friends very, very soon in the near future. Um, but the pivot just it's just got that je ne sais quoi that I know it's guys and I know some of it is about sports. I love sports anyway, so but the conversations, the real, the raw, vulnerable stories that are shared by men and women, the guests that they have on, that let you into their world, the questions that they ask, Ryan, Fred, the guys just, they are hilarious. They are smart and strong, informed, like knowledgeable. They ask great questions. The conversation doesn't feel like it's weighed down or needs to be carried. Like it just revolves, and you hear things that make you think, that shift your perspective, that give you solid understanding of why people may do the things they do the way they do them, and then give you language around those things. The pivot, again, 10 out of 10 recommend. Another podcast that I truly enjoy, Avi, is my own. The Mirrored Experience podcast is sharing ideas and thoughts to shift perspectives on your own personal healing, not just my own view and lived experience, but I do share that because I believe that I hope you see yourself in the stories that I tell about myself. The Mirrored Experience podcast is also going to be reflecting other stories of strong women and maybe some men who have lived experience that may also give you a mirror to see yourself in, to acknowledge that you're not alone, to feel seen, heard, and valued. Because I believe everybody has something to offer the world. And when someone can meet you where you are and then give you information, tools, compassion, empathy, or love to guide you to a trajectory that will shift for the better your life, that's what I want to offer on my podcast. And I hope that that's what is displayed so far. We will be having guests prayerfully coming this year at the end of 2025. I'm learning more about how to set that up so that I can start to invite those that I have either served or that I share, commonality with, that we can offer you more variety of lived experience on the Mirrored Experience podcast. And my number one favorite other podcast that is not me is My Leak Teal. My Leak was the first podcast that I ever listened to and fell in love with. And her knowledge, her swag, her strength, her confidence. We also have at least the same birthday month in common. Her birthday is 5 days before mine. Um, I see a lot of strength and vigor, and class. Just Malik is chic, confident, but she is also killing it in her lane. And I admire her in ways that speaks volumes to her credibility and her way she shares. I like that how she has continued to evolve as I have and take us along on a journey. It is not that, oh, I have it all right and I have all the answers. It is, I am constantly changing and I want you to know that it is okay to constantly change as well. And this is how I'm doing it, and I'm hoping that you're getting something out of what I'm sharing as I change. And that's why I love her platform, because she is a boss. She's went from PR to owning her own hair care company, curl box, a subscription company, to shutting it completely down and going off into coaching and building a family and a life with her mate, and still taking us along on that journey as she knuckled down and worked hard and built out something incredible, to shifting gears and taking a year off and seeing what that looks like for her family and what's next in her career. And she didn't have a what's next. She just was like, I need a minute and I'm going to take a minute. And when she came back and she made a decision, she shared that decision with us. And it just lets you know again, there are really no rules. You can do it however you see fit to do it and whatever works best for you and yours. That society doesn't have to, or really doesn't dictate how you do a thing. You decide. It's all up to you. And that is 5 podcasts that I love. Crystal Evans Hurst, the Sister Circle podcast, Plenty Podcast with Kate Northrup, the Pivot um, podcast, Mirrored Experience, my podcast, and Miley Teal, the Miley Teal podcast. Those are, if I go to something on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, definitely those will be played. Yes, I listen to my own podcast sometimes because, one, you're whatever you're ministering to other people, you probably need to. And sometimes I hear myself play back and I'm like, wow. And or if you have not noticed, you probably need to take your own advice. So I don't listen to it in an arrogant way, like, listen at me, I'm so great. I listen to it because sometimes I'm saying things in real time, like I am right now, and I might miss something that I need because it's being downloaded to me for you sometimes in the moment, and I don't even remember that I said it. So sometimes I play it back so I can hear what nurturing soul food I might need on my podcast. But again, moving at the productivity of peace today, those were things that I thought about, places that I go to heal, to get information, to get clarity, to get perspective, that I thought I would share with you. Because sometimes the tools that we offer other people may be the tools that we use ourselves. So I wanted to share some of my tools, and those are 5 of the podcasts that I do so with. If you heard anything on here that has brought some clarity to you, or you want to check it out, I will do my best to make sure each one of these podcasts and or YouTube channels are linked in the description of this video. And with that, I'm going to go back to the pace of peace and less productivity. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow. And until next time, love well.